hear me. All right, guys, it's determined. I'm the leader of the episode now. You're going to hear my opinions now. You're not going to hear his. You're going to hear mine. I think that's what needs to be determined. So, while Chris is kind of figuring out the audio issue here, um, yeah, hello, Roy Lopez. How are you doing today? You know, so you guys, we're all here. We're gonna be kind of this is an extended conversation for Godzilla minus one. We Chris can't seem to stop expressing his true awesome extreme pleasure with this film. We can, and as of all of us, I think we can all feel that way. We are very happy with the film, and we just can't stop geeking out about it. So we're gonna use this, hour and a half, 2 hours time period to really kind of explain, or not really explain, but just kind of talk, just get into discussion about the film, really. So feel free to, and we'll converse really about anything that you put related to the film in chat. So, Chris, shake your head yes or no if I covered anything. Feel free to, and we'll shake your head yes or no if it covers anything. If I covered everything that you said. So, Chris, shake your head yes or no if I covered anything. Hold on, I'll check. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. No, is it the audio output? Maybe, I don't know. All right. Is he muted or is he unplugged? I can tell you he is not muted, nor is he unplugged. I can hear him perfectly fine through my earbud. So I'm unsure of what it is. Yeah, Cordro, that's what we were discussing. Audio input from the streaming, but I think he would check that already. I'm sure he did that. He's going through the works right now. Here. I'll put my earbud to the microphone, so you guys know that I can hear him.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, this is so weird.
They probably did not hear that, but.
Oh wait, hold on. Okay, maybe. I think I hear myself now. I hear myself in the playback.
Yeah, now I hear.
Now I'm here. Okay. Well, I have no. I just added another. Oh, hold on. I might be peeking too. I just added another thing. Yes, I know. It's kind of. I have to talk quietly because my mic is like super sensitive right now.
I can adjust you on distance.
No, it's
that's different from me. But for like the people,
yeah, it's the
people they can't adjust.
It's the actual levels. Okay, there we go. I'll bring it back to 70 on the actual Windows thing. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me now. Sensitive right now. Okay. That is so weird. I had to add another mic /aux thing on OBS for it to work. And I have no idea why that worked. Goodness. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome. Good Lord, I'm so sorry. That is that is how professional I am on yes, it's ASMR stream now. Yes, ASMR. This is how we're gonna do the stream now. We're all gonna talk about Godzilla minus one. It's awesome. Okay, I'm not gonna do that the whole time. That's horrible. So okay, you guys can hear me now perfectly. Okay, good. All right, good. Perfect. Okay, guys. Well, thank you, Nico, for introducing what the stream's about.
Yeah.
That's why it was good that you were here, because to be honest, I was actually going to solo this stream at first, but then I wanted you to be in here, so that's good that you were here. So I don't know what's with OBS. It's stupid. Okay. So, yes, guys. like what Nico was saying, this is just an extended discussion on the Godzilla -1 film. So we're just going to take an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we're just going to talk about -1 because I cannot stop talking about this film. This film has not left my head since seeing it twice. Again, I actually want to thank you guys also very much for the crazy amount of support on the review. It's at like 3K views right now on the video. Like, it's insane. Like, that video has just been going. So also big thanks on the PSA video as well, to, you know, I had to make like another video about the fan base. You guys remember that old kaiju discussion video I made years ago about the kaiju fan base? And I was like, or the Godzilla fan base, how I was like, everyone's so crazy and weird and toxic sometimes. So, you know, but this time I knew because of we might talk a little bit about the New Empire stuff, just briefly, but we'll keep it mainly to -1 here, because obviously there'll be more future times to talk about that film too. So, but okay, so let's just start. By the ways, in the background, I am trying to play the music, so I have it a little lower than usual, so hopefully Toho won't detect it, but I wanted to play the soundtrack because it just fits perfectly and it's an amazing soundtrack. So okay, also hello everybody in the chat. I can't read all your names because there's actually a lot of you right here. There's almost 30 viewers right now. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining. It's probably also the time too, because like I'm doing this later in the day, and I think usually a lot more people are like on YouTube during the nighttime rather than earlier in the days. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. So yeah, okay. Oh goodness, what is this? Okay, now Spotify is having issues with the music playing in the background. I can't win with this stupid shit. Like, this is so annoying. Whatever. We might just not do it. I don't know. Whatever. Or I can actually, here, hold on. What I can actually do is I could probably just go to YouTube and do it that way. So, yeah, because Spotify does this. Well, it's weird. It's like with with Discord, if you have music playing, sometimes it like turns the music off if you're talking to like have it.
What?
I don't know. It's very weird.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's very weird. So I'm just gonna play. We're just gonna play it from YouTube because I believe there's videos here. Yeah, there is. Okay, there's a playlist. We'll just do it from here because that's just what we're gonna do. So I think we were still on the first track, Fear. Whoa, that's a little louder than I want it to be. Okay, we'll just right there. We'll see. Okay. All right, doing it live, guys. Doing it live. So, I guess we'll start off again. You guys know my opinion on Godzilla -1. I've made 2 videos on it so far. The initial review.
Chris,
What?
You gotta bring live chat back into the clip.
It is in there.
Back in the stream.
It is in there.
No, it's not. It's showing -1.
No,
it's showing the -1.
I see it. It's right.
It's showing there. Okay, there we go.
Right, it's right there.
I was watching the stream.
The playback.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Oh. Forgive me.
I was so confused. I was like, but I'm looking at OBS right now. It says it's right there. This is why I probably should use StreamYard, but I'm cheap and I don't feel like paying for StreamYard. So, because every other person is using StreamYard. Have you noticed this? Like every person that does live streams now, is at least in like our community, it's always StreamYard now. Like everybody,
No,
I feel like I'm behind.
I've only ever used OBS because I know it well enough that I'm comfortable with it. So like I know it well enough. I know how to work it. I know how to use the transitions now.
Right.
And that only took me 6 years to finally learn how to use the simple transition function.
Right.
So,
I still have yet to learn that too, but I think I know why. I just got the volume's just a little lower now. So. Okay, now the chat's back. Okay, that's why the chat disappeared, because I had to go to YouTube real quick to look at the soundtrack. But okay, so yes, you guys know exactly my feelings on it. I made the initial review of it right after I saw it in the theaters, and then I made my official review for it, which was like a 30-minute video. I just went over as much as I could with the film. But that's why I wanted to make this live stream, because I wanted to talk about things that I either missed in that review or things that I wanted to expand on that I either didn't have the time to or whatnot. And also for Nico to talk about his thoughts on the film. And Nico, you haven't made a video on it yet, right?
No.
Okay.
I've been kind of holding off till I let the kind of the how you once said the beer goggles. You know,
Right.
I took them off because obviously we still have this giant hype around it right now.
Recency bias is like a
So
big thing right now. Yeah.
yeah. So I watched it twice, and in general, not a lot has changed since I first watched it.
Yeah.
That's a really good sign. So and I love that.
And you've seen it twice now? This was the
Yes. Yeah, so I saw it on December 2nd, so the day after it initially was released, and then obviously there was the early release, and then I just saw it, I believe it was Saturday night.
perfect.
So
Sweet.
so it was really recently, so.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the same for me. Like, I know that a lot of people, they have that recency bias going on right now, but like, I can't. There are things obviously that I am like starting to think of about, like, yeah, maybe some criticisms here and there, or maybe at least small nitpicks here and there. But really, I'm still like on cloud nine with this movie. Like, every time I think about it, it just gets better and better and better. And it's to me, it is still the best Godzilla film like ever.
I can agree with you 1,000%. I really do think it is the greatest Godzilla film ever made.
Yeah.
Just hands down. I don't really think there's any film really close to it at this point in time. And I did go in there, and I did find something, and it's small. Something small where I was like, maybe they could have done this a little better. But other than that one small reason, it's sitting with me really well.
Yeah.
And the more people that I talk to, who I will say are not Godzilla fans, speak very highly of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do bring up an interesting fact that, I did see, like, it's tied for like the highest rated live action film right next to Oppenheimer.
Yeah, it is. It actually beat Oppenheimer.
I saw that it actually beat it.
Yeah, like in the box office and everything.
Wow. So I saw that, and I'm like, really? That surprises me. But the more I hear back from those people who aren't Godzilla fans saying, really giving it high praise, like, I got a text from my friend, and he's giving it so much high praise. And I told him, like, hey, it's tied for Oppenheimer as one of the highest rated movies of the year. And he's like, I believe it. Like,
yeah,
that is legitimate. And that's when it hit me. It's like, this is real.
Yeah, I know.
I went and saw this movie with my girlfriend and her mom this Saturday. And they told me it was a really great film. And my girlfriend, I'm not sure if we're going into spoilers or not.
Well, but I mean, this is an extended discussion, so anybody right now who's watching, we are going to spoil the crap out of this film. So, like, this is,
So at the ending, when Koichi sees Noriko alive after the first atomic blast, my girlfriend said she was holding back tears, and that's when that was another big realization. Like, this is the real deal.
Cinema.
This is for real.
Yeah.
Like, they made the most of their $10 million budget.
Yeah, because apparently it wasn't actually the 15 million. It was less, apparently. What the hell is his name? This is why we need Wikizilla up while we're talking about this. Takashi Yamasa. Oh goodness, someone will tell us in the comments. I guarantee it. But apparently he came out. The director said that. I wish it was the 15 million budget. So it was even less than that, and I'm just like, how, like, that's just insane. I'm curious how much Shin Godzilla's budget was actually. Takashi Yamazaki, thank you, Godzilla Man 2000. Yeah.
Now you got me curious. How
much was Shin Godzilla's budget? But
really quick.
Right now, if you guys can hear the music, it's like the sirens part of the soundtrack is playing. It's really eerie. I love it. It's just so. We'll actually go through the film. Also, I think that would be a good idea to also just to go through it, just like the plot and everything. But yeah, the thing is, let's see if they don't have the plot yet. But oh yeah, what was it? What's Shin Godzilla's?
Shin's was 6.8 million USD.
6.8 million. Okay, so if oh, it looks like Matthew Peavy says the film cost somewhere between 10 to 13 million. Okay, that sounds about right because it does look better than Shin. I mean, there were some parts in Shin that looked downright bad. So I would be surprised if Toho at least didn't give it a somewhat of a bigger budget for that. But okay, let's see here. I'm pulling up the plot for -1 here so we can just go through because I think that would be like the thing. So yeah, so again, like when I first saw the film, I mean it was literally everything that I wanted in a Godzilla film that I have been asking for since 2014. And like if you guys remember the Comic-Con, the early Comic-Con trailers for Godzilla 2014, where there's like the big, I don't know, that like bug creature that's like dead on the ground, and then that just amazing picture or like that scene where Godzilla's roaring in the smoke and he's like in a silhouette or whatever. Like, do you guys remember that old Comic-Con trailer? Do you remember that, Nico?
No. See,
oh wow,
it's been such a long time.
And then like even the what was it? The later trailers, like when they did like the whole Oppenheimer speech to it, you know, like I am become death and blah blah blah, and like they had this very like the creepy music playing in the background. I think it was the Apollo. No, it was one of those sci-fi movies that had that soundtrack in it where they're doing the
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about when they're doing like the Halo jump or whatever. But you know, like that, I was thinking when that film was being marketed, I was like, oh my god, like this Godzilla is going to be terrifying. Like Legendary is going to make the most terrifying Godzilla, like realistic and grounded, terrifying. And then you know we got 2014 and it was you know, grounded and dark, but but Godzilla was a hero. He wasn't scary. He wasn't the one that was, you know, like when Bryan Cranston in the trailers was like, you know, you guys don't understand. It's going to bring us back to the Stone Age. And we're like, oh my God, that's Godzilla. Nope, that's the Mutos. The Mutos were the ones who were the scary ones. So it just, oh, there goes the Godzilla suite. Ah, yes, there we go. But, you know, that, what I was envisioning in my head, you know, of like how terrifying Godzilla would be or anything like that. I was -1 is what I had in my head. Like that is what I wanted. And when Godzilla first comes on the scene, I mean, it's just like, actually not even like in the opening part when he's the Godzillasaurus thing and the guy's like the spotlight pops up and he like, you know, they're like, what do you see? And he's like, I don't know. And then he turns the light and just bam, Godzilla's right there, roars, and then just charges towards the spotlight, knocks it down. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, just that first opening part.
Yeah, listen, I knew it was dark. And we're used to seeing Godzilla destroy buildings and people, like, flop, like, just maybe not to that crazy extent, but, like, you see destroy buildings and stuff, whatever, people are in danger. I knew this movie was dark when I saw him bend down and bite them, and throw them. I'm like, I could not believe what I was seeing.
Like that was the thing. He wasn't eating them. He was literally just like, because that's the thing. Usually, like an animal, right? Like he would go and maybe try to eat them because he's maybe hungry or what, like he's hunting. No, he was out for blood. He wasn't like he was just, I'm gonna kill you and toss you. Like it was like, dude. I just we've never ever seen Godzilla. Even the GMK Godzilla was not that pinpointing with humans to try and kill them. Like oh my god. So
and when Koichi was going towards the plane, and we get that close-up shot of Godzilla with his eye, and
oh my god,
and fear takes over, and then there was just that one slip up. Just
Yeah.
that once. Oh,
And I've always wondered,
oh.
like when Koichi is in the pilot seat and he's like and the target is on Godzilla and he starts freezing up. I said this in my review. I wonder if because Godzilla was at an earlier stage, he wasn't radiated yet, or at least we assume he wasn't radiated yet. That what if that could have killed him? Like actually, like really?
Yeah.
Like because I feel like maybe that would have done something. But
Absolutely.
I just love how because of him not doing that, that's one of the biggest messages. Like Godzilla's not only the whole allegory and metaphor for the atomic bomb, but he's also the personal allegory and metaphor for Koichi and not fulfill, like, that's why he's saying like my war's not over because I didn't finish the job because I froze up at the beginning and now Godzilla's bigger than ever and now I have to, fight him off when he's bigger and try. Oh, it's just like this stuff is just, this film is brimming with depth and just meat and substance alongside action and stuff like that. And there was one comment here that I read. I don't remember who you are, but if comment saying like that was me. Someone said, I wish the Ginza scene was longer. I do agree. That was another thing I thought of was that the fact that there was only one city destruction scene I thought was very odd for a Godzilla film, especially a solo Godzilla film. Usually it's about like maybe 2 to 3 scenes of Godzilla destroying a city.
And I do want to bring up. I wonder how much it was attributed to. I wonder how much it was attributed to the budget.
Yeah,
because I do want to take that into consideration. I wonder if how much of the budget went into that just city destruction scene. Period.
I guarantee it was.
And I'm not sure if there was any like direct statement from any member of Toho or whatever the case may be, because obviously this takes place before the original King of the Monsters movie, and they bring up the fact that at some point during the movie, like, okay, the government isn't one to spread out this all out,
right?
About Godzilla, so we're giving this, and the government isn't doing anything about it because we don't want to spark up anything.
Yeah.
So they're doing everything for the citizens. The citizens have to do this, not the government. So that kind of, so story-wise, that kind of, for them to only put in one city destruction scene, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to keep everything contained, so they have to hurry up and make this plan or whatever. And I'm sure we'll get the future part of what we see possibly of what the future may bring.
Oh yeah, we can definitely talk about potential
Godzilla.
sequels.
So, yeah, so I'm not gonna delve into that until we get to that point, but that's just kind of my thinking, is that does make sense. There's only one city destruction scene, is because of, one, the budget, and two, just with the whole government wanting to keep everything under wraps.
Yeah.
So therefore, and it could tie into everything else.
And I think that's okay, because it makes that scene even more memorable because there wasn't multiple of it. We've had so many. Hey, Sean's in the chat. What's up, man? Quinn Craftables is in the chat. But
Sean.
when we've had multiple city destruction scenes, sometimes they can blur together. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I don't really particularly remember when that part happened, but whatever. But like, this is, everyone talks about it, the Ginza scene. Like that's all you have to say, and you instantly know that scene. Okay, like that's how great it is. And
with that being said, with the emotional attachment that you get with that, with Koichi and Noriko.
Yeah.
That emotional scene that you get when he uses his heat beam, and it creates that nuclear blast, and she sacrifices herself to save Koichi, which I was like, oh wow, like this man he's going through it, like it's
Well, and that was the thing too that I also noticed, and I don't think I brought it up in my review, but it was something where even in 1954, the human characters, Ogata and all that, like they were not directly in harm's way. if I can remember, there's no part in the film where you're actually like, oh my God, they're going to get stepped on or something. The only part I can think of is when Dr. Serizawa and Ogata are going down to, administer the oxygen destroyer. I guess that could be considered somewhat of a tense thing. But there's like in any of the Godzilla films, I can't think of the human characters being like legit in harm's way of Godzilla.
No. I mean, there's never really all that much happening.
They're either just like standing on some building just watching the fight, or they're in some government like bunker watching them on a screen.
Yeah, and go back to your point with King of the Monsters. I think that would be the second film that where the main characters are in harm's way, with your case in point of Ogata and Serizawa going down with the oxygen destroyer. There's that scene I can think of. There is the scene, I believe, I can't remember if he's sort of like the political leader, I want to say. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I think they're off the shore watching Godzilla destroy the city, and Godzilla flips the bridge, and the fighter jets.
Oh yeah, that like the doctor, the doctor guy. Yeah, they're all like it's like most of the cast are watching from the side. Yeah. Yeah,
and then Steve Martin when the building is destroyed because of Godzilla.
Yeah, again, Steve Martin, like that's the problem with the American cut, is because it was all added scenes, so he really wasn't going to be in harm's way because the original film didn't have him in it. So like, how are they gonna, put Steve Martin in the way of Godzilla when it's all filmed already? So yeah, that's not that wasn't it. But hey, Kaijuzilla's in the chat. What's up?
I still give them props for back then the way they performed.
Oh
King
yeah,
of the Monsters though.
Well, of course,
like fixing that.
Yeah,
I forget exactly what scene how the building gets destroyed, if they'll just like bump into it or if it just blows up in like collateral or whatever. I can't remember how they had that
in the original, like when you mean those reporters on the tower that are report like they're going, oh, Godzilla's getting closer.
That too?
No. Yeah. No, because if he's like
I'm talking about Steve Martin.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's reporting from like a different area. Because the guys who were reporting on the tower, Godzilla actually goes up to the tower and bites it and like destroys the tower, and that's how they
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But yeah, Steve Martin was like in some other reporting area, just looking over the Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't remember how he was in harm's way at that point in time.
He never was. He never was.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he never was. Yeah, but
he never was.
No.
You sure?
No, Steve Martin was never.
Sure?
No, we never were concerned about Steve Martin. We were like, oh, he's fine. He's reporting on a far-off building somewhere. Godzilla's not coming towards him.
He was in the hospital, man. What are you talking about?
Well, he was reporting after the fact. When Godzilla left,
he got hospitalized.
Oh no, that is true. I guess that you're right. No, you're right. He did. You're right. Actually, I forgot. You're right. The movie starts with that. I forgot. No, you're right, Nico. I actually did forget. I haven't seen
Did we actually cut?
I haven't seen the American version in a long time, so I forgot about Steve Martin, because that's right. The movie actually opens with the destruction, and he's in the rubble. You're right. Okay, he was okay, but at the same time, though, the point I'm trying to make is we still were never concerned about him, because the movie starts with him being injured, but he's fine. I'm talking about Koichi and Noriko, where you're actually going, oh my God, they might die. And even at the end, when the whole crew is there, like when Captain, the Doc, and then the kid, like when they're also trying to kill Godzilla in that scene, you're thinking they could potentially die. Like if Godzilla gets one atomic blast off on them, they're done. So you're like sitting there that whole final act going, oh, like super tense on that. But yeah, one thing I also want to mention was that I love the part where Andrew plays. You commented what I just was gonna say is that those reporters on the building top, and they're like, oh, Godzilla's like coming this way, and like he like sort of walks on the side of them, but then like Godzilla's tail hits the building and then they start sliding off. I'm like, that is taken directly from the original when those reporters fall off the building. I love it. I love how that was there. It sounded like the exact audio too. Like I wonder if those are like the same lines that they were saying.
I wonder, yeah. I'll have
I
to go
don't.
back
Yeah.
and watch the original because I started watching the original one before
Right.
I watched -1 the second time. Just to kind of see if I can make any like connections
Right.
to the original before I went in and saw -1 again. Didn't get a chance to finish it before
I'm
I went and
turning
saw
off my blur because it's really distracting. It's making my camera artifact like crazy.
it.
I was like, every time I raise my arm, it's like artifacting. I'm like, okay, we're not doing this. So it's a Christmas tree behind me, everybody. It's Christmas time, right? So, anyways, yeah, but gosh, so starting with, I mean, again, we've already talked about the first scene. Just there was also a lot of subtle things that are in this film. Like the first time I watched it, I didn't. It went by so fast, but when Tachibana, the engineer like leader guy, when he was blaming Koichi for the deaths of all the engineers, and then when they were on that boat going back to home, it kind of went over my head that was Tachibana who gave him the photos of all the dead engineers and their family, because it went by so quick, and for some reason I just didn't register it. But the second time I watched it, that scene was so much more impactful because I was like, like that's him just giving him the pictures, and he's like, here, you son of a gun, like you're the reason that all these men died. And it's just like so impactful with that.
Yeah, I never I didn't catch it the first time. The second time I was like, I saw it was Tachibana, and I saw him handing a piece of paper. At that point, I knew it was the family, and so I'm on the same boat as you. And then there's a later scene. There's a later scene in the film where I think he knocks over the paper that he gave to him, and you see the pictures all fly out.
Yeah,
I think that was supposed to be the kind of like the big reveal.
Yeah,
I
that was
missed that.
Yeah.
The first time around.
Yeah.
But I knew after the fact that okay, he had pictures of all the.
And the scene that really got to me was the when Koichi's having like his PTSD meltdown, and he's starting to think like, oh, maybe I'm just dead, and maybe this is just a big nightmare, and I'm whatever. And then like Noriko's like trying to comfort him and hold him and say like, you're alive, and like he just breaks down, and he just like, she just holds him and starts rubbing his back, whatever. And just that whole scene is so emotional. And these actors, man, they were pouring everything into it. I mean, like Koichi's actor, I don't know his name, but this guy needs a like an Oscar or something for his acting. He did such an amazing job. And
I thought all the actors did very well.
All of them did such a great job.
I thought they did very, very, very.
There was no character that I disliked, or no character in the cast that was like throwaway. Every person in the cast was brilliantly developed. And that's like almost every character had an arc. The only character I think that didn't necessarily have an arc was maybe the doctor and the captain guy, but I think that's okay. Like they didn't necessarily need to have a major arc. But I mean, obviously Koichi has the biggest arc of all because he's the biggest, he's the protagonist. Noriko, I feel, was more of, she was definitely more of the supporting cast. I mean, obviously she like dies halfway through the film. Well, dies halfway through the film. But the other arc I liked was the kid. How he's like, I want to defend my country. I want to. I don't know his actual name, but I just know him by the nickname. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you look on Wikizilla or something for that.
I think they call him Mizushima the entire
Mizushima.
Movie.
Okay.
I think that's what Mizushima. I think.
Yeah,
and that's what they call him.
And I loved. I know that it was very like, some people I've heard, because I've watched a bunch of reviews now just to see like how other people have reacted to the film, but the one thing one complaint that some people had was that at the end, the final act where it was like the big climax where they're like, oh shit, our boats can't lift Godzilla back up, and they're like, what are we gonna do? And then the kid comes in with the all those other ships and boats that are coming, And some people said like that was it reminded them of Star Wars Episode 9, where like all the ships come in and they say, hey, we're here to help and whatever. But I feel like maybe that was I mean, yeah, it was a little Hollywood-esque for that part. But I mean, come on, this whole final act, you're sitting there gripping, going, come on, because this is the crazy thing. This is a Godzilla film where you want the humans to actually win. Like you're actually mad at Godzilla. You're like, I want Godzilla to die. Like I don't want him to win. Like you're actually rooting for the humans, which is almost never a thing. Like you know.
They've been we all know the kid, which is a lot easier to remember.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
He's been wanting to help the entire movie. He's been wanting to like help his country the entire movie.
Yeah.
So. It was just it's not a matter of if, it was a matter of when he was going to help.
Right.
I think that was the biggest thing too. It's not like it's just kind of like we're here now, where it's like what?
Yeah.
No, we definitely saw it coming. We just didn't know when it was coming or how he was going to help. And I thought deep down it was probably the most realistic way to help him out at that point in time.
Yeah. I thought that was good. We're actually gonna let's see if how do I there might be another person that we might get in on this chat here.
I know who I think it might be.
Yeah. Let's see. How do I is there a way you can get him in, Nico? Because for some reason I can't look at. I think it's because I have all my stuff set up on OBS. I don't know if I'm gonna mess something up.
I think it's because we. Oh, I got it.
Can you invite it? Okay.
Begins with an S, right? The name begins with an S, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and YouTube username is Q, right?
Yeah, starts with that.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay, let's see if this will work. Okay. Whoa. Oh gosh, I have to change my my window here for a second.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. You gotta reset my. Yeah. Hold on.
Oh yeah. There's a whole lot of Chris on screen. No, don't spoil it.
There we go. Okay. Perfect. And now I just gotta cut a little bit. Sean, look at what you did. Look at what you did, Sean.
You guys.
Sean.
When I messaged Nico that the reason he didn't respond was because maybe it was the way the OBS was set up and that would fuck with the.
Well, that's why I had to look at my phone. Sean, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, Sean. Well, now that you shanghaied yourself into this live stream, what do you got to say for yourself?
The movie was very good. Very, very good.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, you hear it there, folks. The movie's very good.
I know.
All right. Again,
approved.
This is probably why I should use StreamYard, because I know it's a lot more simple in trying to get people.
I don't know what it is. That's the thing where like you can put comments up on the screen. Right?
Yeah. Okay. And for some reason my camera's off. Okay. Hi guys. I'm back.
All right. Sorry.
Jeez, Sean. Goodness. All right. No, it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, but Nico, when you were talking about the kid having his moment to shine like that was so like, again, I don't care how Hollywood-esque that was. I love how fulfilling it. Like you were rooting for that. You like as soon as all those ships came on and he's like, I'm here to help. And he's just like, yeah, I'm like in the chair going, fuck yeah. Yeah, you get them. Like you get all those ships and go, the one part, and I said in my review that really was weird, and I even noticed on my first viewing that as soon as he comes in, it's like the next cut, they're all roped up, ready to go on like both sides, and I'm like, that feel like that would have taken a lot more time. But
no, that's just how much control he had of the situation. Thank you very much. Don't underestimate the kid.
I know.
I heard you say someone mentioned it was like Star Wars, that kind of the moment where they all show up.
Yeah.
Kind of save the day. I didn't really think of Star Wars Episode 9. I didn't think it until you said it, but
right.
My mind did jump to Star Wars when I saw it, but I was thinking of the first one where it's like the kid, he's staying behind. He's gonna come back at the end of the movie or something like that.
Right, yeah. Or I thought he was going to
If we're
do
seeing
something
him up for
stupid.
sure.
Like, I thought he was going to
Yeah,
do
I
something to
thought
get
he was
himself
gonna do something
killed.
stupid.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what I was worried about. But
I was
yeah.
thinking because they were doing such like an anti-war message that he wanted to be in the war.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they were gonna maybe go with because he forces himself into this battle that he shouldn't be in.
Right.
He's gonna end up doing something wrong.
Mhm.
He's so.
Also, just a brief thing for the people in the comment section. I just want to know, is the music still good level-wise? I haven't gotten any notifications from Toho, so I think we're pretty good. But just let me know if the music's not overtaking us talking, because I want to make sure that that's also good. But
Oh, you have -1 music.
yeah, I do. Of course I do. That's because can we also? That's a great transition. Can we talk about the soundtrack for a little bit? Like, holy shit!
Oh,
I mean, it is like one of the peak best Godzilla soundtracks I have ever heard in a long time.
It was so good. It's one of
What's
those.
the
I don't,
one track?
One of the few movies where it's like I'm so glad I saw it in theaters. Just for
Oh yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to go once for the movie, the second time for the visuals, and a third time just to listen to the music.
I'm actually really happy I listened to the soundtrack first because like it was a few weeks before the film came out. I saw that someone posted something because I look on Reddit from time to time just seeing what's going on too, and someone posted, hey, the soundtrack's on Spotify, and I'm like, ugh. So I immediately went to listen to it, and like listening to it on its own was really cool because it got my imagination running of like, oh, when like this part, oh, like I wonder what's gonna happen during this part, and then seeing the visuals with the soundtrack was so like it was so good actually to have it match up of what the music was matching with the
Where you were
visuals.
guessing in your mind.
Yeah, and like right now actually the string parts, and that's what's playing right now, where it's like dun-dun-dun, 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 where they're getting the pilot, like
that one.
when they reveal the prototype plane, I love it. And
actually,
yeah.
So someone asked, actually, Kaiju0621, best score from -1.
Fear. Fear.
No, I'm going with Divine. Divine when the hold on.
Fear for me
when the
because I've
choir-
never
when the
been so
choir
fucking
picks up.
terrified of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Listen, when Divine when the choir picks up after he just destroys Ginza
Yeah.
with his heat ray. Oh
Yeah.
that gives me goosebumps.
Was it-
Anytime that soundtrack popped
I
up.
thought Divine was the one that plays as soon as the Takeo fires on him.
So,
It's
Well,
I'm sorry,
sometimes they reuse the same track for different parts. So, but like
they're pretty much
yeah.
the same track. I just remember they played it twice in the film, and one of them was.
yeah, they played it. They definitely played it multiple times, but Divine, oh, that gives me goosebumps, and that gives me that's just a very
Well, like
I can listen to it all day.
I agree with Sean. The Fear track. I mean, when I listened to it alone before the film, I mean, because I was just, I was at my job just working. I had my music in, and as soon as Fear started playing, I was like, I had to stop for a second, because where I work, I'm able to like, sort of stop and just sit for a little bit because I work like in a factory in a place. So, but when that track started to play, like I literally had to stop for a second to go, I'm like kind of freaked out right now. I feel like this is what fear would sound like no joke. Like this is the embodiment of what fear would sound like. And then with the visuals, it's just so impactful. But the other one is when Koichi is flying around Godzilla trying to lure him into the ocean to where their operation will take place, and also right before he's about to go right into Godzilla's mouth to plant the bomb. That orchestral part, like, dude, just goosebumps the whole time.
Track. I know which track you're talking about.
Yeah, like
Track
the big
way
choirs.
It doesn't sound like it's about to just transition into an orchestral track. So when it happened in the theater, like Godzilla like swings his tail or something, and then
Yeah.
that track you're talking about,
Yeah.
all of a sudden the orchestra starts, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah,
You know?
I think it's actually playing right now. I think it's gonna play right now. This track, because it still has the strings with the da na na da na na, and I like yeah. And then of course we can't forget about the Akira Fukube tracks that were inserted, that were remade,
all three
flawless,
suites.
flawless.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's right. Right now it's playing. Yes, it's the orchestral part. This is my favorite part. Oh my god. Yes, I'm just getting goosebumps just thinking about this part in the film. But Toho, please put this on Blu-ray soon, please. I want to watch it again.
Listen. I need it. I need the soundtrack on a vinyl record.
Yeah.
I'm a big vinyl record collector, and for those of you who are interested in buying vinyl records, we are not. I guess we're not. Honestly,
We're
if they want
selling
to.
our own Attention Studios.
I guess. Yeah, if you want to sponsor us, FYE, you can. But there is a store called FYE. If you go on their website, they have a bunch of Godzilla stuff. They are selling the Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, it
is incredible.
Is that from Mondo? That's like the Mondo guys, isn't it?
I don't know.
Mondo's been releasing but right now they do have the CD on Amazon, but it's like 40 some bucks. Kind of, I think you have to import it. I don't think we are able to get in the States. I think it's something you have to import from Japan. But I mean, luckily CDs aren't region locked, so I mean, it'll still play.
The
but
first time I heard the Ifukube themes in the movie, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt like this would be a better point to have maybe one of the orchestral tracks kind of playing. I wasn't vibing with it the first time, to be real, but like the second and third time I watched the film, I loved it. It just gets better and better the more I watch it. I just, it's so unreal.
Because I think what I love about the Toho films, because this is what I mean. Like, look, we're not gonna talk about how the MonsterVerse is now dead or screwed because of -1. They are, to be honest, at this point, the two different series are it's different. They're totally different in tones and everything. It's not even, at this point, it's not even fair to compare, I would say, with how it is. But one thing I will say is that in the soundtrack, except for, I would say, 2014 soundtrack, I feel like that soundtrack had personality and it had its themes that it kept on reusing, and they sort of changed up the themes. Now, obviously, I know a lot of people love Bear McCready's theme as well. The soundtrack was amazing for King of the Monsters, but the thing it's still lacking, I feel, is just that it doesn't have the Akira Ifukube like feel to it. Like Bear McCready like took the tracks and sort of I think he changed it where it was like a little maybe too much or too in a certain direction. But what I like, and even Shin Godzilla had it. Granted, they used like old school mono tracks. It was like they didn't even try to remaster or whatever. Which sort of I understand that some people didn't like that because it sort of was it didn't contrast well with the original score. But here, what I love is that it has you listen to those classic tracks, but it's made like re-recorded in the modern like whatever orchestra that they were using, and I love it. And I think what was really cool is how they had like the 3 different suites, and all of them start this somewhat the same, and then they go into like you have like the traditional Godzilla theme, and then you have the Mothra versus Godzilla soundtrack suite for a little bit in like the second time. I think that was in the was it the Ginza attack? I think that had the Mothra suite in it.
No, it was actually. I thought it was the It might have been the. No, I thought it was the plan. I thought it was the when they were going out to the ocean.
No, see, I think that one was King Kong. That was the King Kong. The. I'm pretty sure the King Kong was playing at the end.
I'm saying that I just saw it again yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was the Ginza scene.
With the Mothra soundtrack, yeah.
It was
because then the end credits was just straight up Godzilla themes and stuff like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I will say the second suite. I'm a sucker for bass. I love bass. Just any sort of bass that rumbles, that could rumble my car.
Yeah.
The second suite, when that drum hit, that deep drum hits. And I hear it in my car, in my headphones, that bass hits. I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It gets me energized. It gets me going. Like I'm ready.
What I love.
I love the second suite specifically.
Yeah. Well.
The second suite, they made it like a hype song.
Yeah, it was.
It's the same song, but they made it like hype, which
is
weird. I never feel that.
And I think that's also what's playing right now for our viewers is the first Godzilla suite. So when Godzilla first attacks Ginza, and by the way, when it starts, is like the perfect time to start the track when Godzilla, like she's looking out the train and she's like, oh, Godzilla, and then all of a sudden he just steps in, you know, out from the building, and then the music starts. You're like, let's go, it's Godzilla destruction time. You know, it's perfect. But I gotta say the King Kong one though, when it really kicks up in tempo, when the ships are like moving out or whatever, like as soon as the tempo just really picks up, I was like, hell yeah. Zimzilla, thanks for the super chat, dropping in to say hi and dipping. Ginza has the Mothra G suite and the Ocean Battle is the Kong suite. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you, Zimzilla. Yeah. Thanks for popping in. Thank you for the super chat. Not required, but thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But yeah, again, I'm also amazed that Toho still hasn't gotten me yet. Toho, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Toho, it's fine. You don't hearing nothing right now playing.
I've had this one.
They got your eye on you. They're just waiting. They're just
waiting.
They're like, who's gonna mess up? They're gonna talk. There's like 2 seconds. They're waiting for that 2 second of silence.
Yeah. They're waiting. Yeah, just keep on talking over the music. Blah 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 blah.
On that, something you said that made me think was you can't compare them to the MonsterVerse, and I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Obviously. However, I think because one film, let's just compare it, like -1 is a great movie in general.
Oh yeah.
MonsterVerse is hit or miss with being good Godzilla films at all.
Right.
And good films in general. I think -1 has done more to introduce. It has done more to validate or give credit to the Godzilla franchise than most of the MonsterVerse, because I've gotten people who don't care about Godzilla to go see this movie, and then they turn to me in the theater and they literally, I mean, I have one friend literally do the Danny DeVito meme where he looks at the camera like, I get it now.
I get it now.
Yeah. And every person has had like a subsequent reaction, you know.
Yeah.
And just to put it in perspective, Critical made a video.
Yes. Well, that's
praising it.
That's actually the next thing.
Know how big that is.
No, it is majorly big. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Actually, is the reception on this film, because we all know we can talk about the plot and everything and the character, which we've sort of done, and we talked about the soundtrack. We'll talk about Godzilla himself also, because that's also a big thing with this. But the reception, guys. Okay, when I made that post, when I said that I am so happy to see the fan base like unanimously agree on something for the first time in years. I mean, like let's just really look at it. There is a small minority of fans and just general audiences that don't like the film, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you didn't like the film, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I think Matt from Monstrosities was not too keen on it, which is fine. There's no issue with that. But holy shit, I don't think the fan base, like the majority of it, have ever agreed on a new film since like GMK. I honestly think like ever since GMK, every film has been split down the middle or always this mixed reaction or whatever. But you can go to like anybody and they'll say, yeah, this film was fantastic. And the other thing along with the critical reception is it's not just Godzilla fans talking about this. We have all these other people that have had no business in talking about Godzilla at all. Like what you said, critical what's it Penguin Z or Moist Critical. Yeah.
He infamously has been critical of the MonsterVerse Godzilla, Godzilla movies in general. And for the longest time, people have just been under the assumption that he doesn't like Godzilla. I mean, I agree with his points, but I didn't get the vibe that he liked Godzilla. He made a whole video dedicated to just how fucking good this movie was, and that was insane to me. It was outside of the moist meter.
It is 18 minutes and 45 seconds of pure glazing
gushing
of this movie.
Yeah.
And it is all yeah.
And like and right here, Andrew Plays, he's saying like seeing YouTubers I watch like Chris Stuckman and Team 4-Star talk about it was so cool too. I've seen Chris Stuckman's review on it. I haven't seen Team 4-Star talking, but that's really cool that they are. And also I've seen like Angry Joe talk about it. He said that he was in love with it. And even on the Angry Joe show, one of the other co-hosts that are on there, I can't think of his name at the moment, but he is super critical on a lot of films, which actually I really like him. He's not Other Joe. He's the other guy. Someone in the comments tell me who the other guy, because he's like the level head guy in the crew. Yeah. I love Angry Joe. I watch him a lot. But someone in the comments tell me what his name was, because he's like the level head guy, but he's very critical on films. Like he's super. But with -1, even he was like, yeah, no, this is pretty good. Like this is really good. And yeah, and I've seen there's so many YouTubers and so many outlets and people that have talked positive about this film, and I'm so happy that I'm not the only one. Alex, thank you, Alex from Angry Joe. Yes, I'm glad that I'm not the only one that thinks that this is the best Godzilla film in the franchise, even overpassing 54. And I know that that's a giant claim. I know that is a giant claim.
It clears.
But
It clears.
I got to be honest with you guys. I don't say that it's better than 1954 in a way saying, it's better. I mean it in a respectful way. I say that -1.
It is a triumph. To be
Right.
better than that film.
-1 did what the original did for the 50s, but in a modern time. And you can't deny that because of -1, Godzilla now, I think as a franchise, has finally hit that mark where people can look at it and be like, you know what, this is cinema. It's not just a campy B, right? Because people would still watch 1954. And guys, I know you can't touch 1954, you can't touch the original, you can't say blah, blah, blah. But guys, come on, nowadays it is kind of B-rated sometimes. You know, we love it, we respect it.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's dated.
No.
But dated,
Yeah.
but it's
dated.
Yeah, it's
you know.
I would agree with Sean with that, because you have to take it in time of the technology they had back then and the innovation the movie brought to with it. And I would say everything that came after that, yes. Yeah.
Right. Well,
it really is B-rated, but that's what makes the movies fun.
And that's another big thing, is that, you know, we all love these films. You know, of course we do. We get it. We have fun with the campiness. But when you really think about it, there was I don't know if it was a video or an article or something, but the title was something along the lines of, well, it took them 69 years, but they finally made a good Godzilla film. Yeah. And I was, and I mean, as a fan, I would be like, I'm offended, but in reality, they're not really wrong. You know?
No, they really aren't.
Because
making a Godzilla film every single year for almost 70 years is insane. That's pure insanity.
Yeah.
Like, getting a budget together and then just throwing something together in 1 year and then releasing it, I'm like that's pure insanity. So yeah, it did take them
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the big problem is they were running out of money every time the series had to go on ice. It was because the fans weren't necessarily caring about it anymore, except for the super hardcore ones, and also because the Toho themselves were burnt out. Like the directors and the producers and all that stuff, they were literally going, we got nothing else for this character.
After Final Wars and
they said this is done.
Capture a new generation of fans.
Yeah, they said the producer at the time was like, look, we're done. We have no idea what else to do with this character, but we're not saying that this is the last film forever. We're just saying this is the last film we're doing, and the next the whatever comes next is from new generation of filmmakers. And you know, that's what it is. I mean, it's like
a great point, and I have to mention it because it's really encapsulates everything I feel about this movie. And Zane Egg going, they said, now you have a movie to answer to people. What movie should I watch to get started watching Godzilla?
Oh, hell yeah.
I feel like every fan from the beginning of time has been, and Nico, it sounds like you're about to disagree, but I feel like every fan from the beginning of time has been like, no, you got to start with this because you're not going to understand this or that. And it's like, well, they might not like this or that. They have to like something about Godzilla to begin with.
Right.
And I think this is the perfect movie. Like I just said before, I've brought friends in who don't give two shits about Godzilla, and they look to me and they were like, I get it now, and they've started watching other films.
Yeah.
I've seen in real time the engagement of this movie. So maybe someone else has a movie they would rather show someone first, but do I think this is maybe the objective best one to get a fan in? I think so.
Yeah.
do.
You absolutely. I would agree with you, Sean. You absolutely need to show them this film because it is peak. It is the best one. It makes the most sense. It captures everything you look for in a film in general, in some of the best ways possible. And from that point on, that's where you can kind of break it down from that. I think that's when you can move into, in my personal opinion, 1954, because that would probably be the
other
next
ghost.
and,
You know?
Right.
And then from that point on, you just kind of let them know, like, hey, you know, now you understand where they were coming from with this. Now you get to see all the fun stuff, all the stuff they tried, all the stuff they failed with, all the
gateway drug.
Yeah.
Perfect gateway drug.
Yeah. Because there's this.
Yeah.
It's the perfect amount of wow, this is really good, and the perfect amount of what the fuck was that? Excuse my language. I don't know if you.
Oh, I don't
I'm
care.
swearing nonstop, so
I don't give a
apologize.
shit.
but it is the perfect amount. It's the perfect. I think now with that being said, it's the perfect. It is the perfect amount of wow. This is pretty decent. You know, this is really good. And what the fuck? Like he's flying.
Yeah.
What is that? And what is this? And like, why is this so bad? But why is it so entertaining? I think that's great. And I perfectly agree with you.
And I always, you know, when I was in the theater watching it, you know, for both times, more of like the first time, I was sitting there going, this is what it felt like watching Godzilla in the 50s for a 50s audience. This is what it felt like. I have never in my whole life watched a Godzilla film and been like, I wish I could feel what it felt like when they watched the original in the 50s. Like, what did it feel? What was it like watching something that was so out, like different and crazy? And I was like, I never got that with anything. But this film, when I was sitting there, I was going, this is what it was. This is what it was like.
There it is. Yeah.
Like, this is it. You know, like, this is why Godzilla has stood the test of time. And even with that, because of, and I've said it before, because of -1 coming out and being literally the also, by the way, guys, 84 is still my favorite out of all, though, because you can't take something that is so nostalgically, like, rooted into my heart. I mean, I can't just all of a sudden be like, okay, 84, bye. Like, it can't be.
You can have.
I'll take it a step further. 98's still my favorite, but I think -1 is a better movie. And
exactly.
You
right.
Can have, you can have your favorites, but you need to accept facts.
Right. And that's what I mean is that even though 84 will always be my favorite, I obviously -1 I will say is still better. Like it is objectively just the better film because it whatever. But the thing that I love is how, because of -1 and because of basically Toho giving me what I've wanted since 2014, I swear, guys, a change happened overnight, and my appreciation with this franchise and my love for this franchise changed overnight, where I'm further more in love with it, because there was a part that I was starting to, not like fading as a fan, but I was just going, okay, the MonsterVerse is just kind of where it is. And then Shin Godzilla Singular Point, like, okay, they're doing like really outrageous things with the character, which I appreciate. I do tremendously.
Nothing to stand proud of.
But there was always the part of me that was like, you know, I just kind of want a damn traditional Godzilla film that's just really what I look for. And because -1 did that, I now can look at everything in this franchise, even the Showa series and even the MonsterVerse stuff. And like, that's why when the MonsterVerse New Empire came out, the trailer. Yeah, when the trailer came out of the New Empire, I was like, that's why my reaction, I wasn't like, this is crap now. Because you could see the difference when I was talking about my first reactions when the teaser came out, and then when I was talking about the plot leaks, you could tell I had a negative attitude with it. You know, I was like, this is just so far beyond what it was. But my whole mindset changed with this one. I'm going, now I can really appreciate the goofiness inside of it, because now I can go into the New Empire and just sit and go, I got my Godzilla, but now I want to see what they do with you know, another version of Godzilla. Like what's this Showa-esque type of Godzilla going to be like? And I can sit in the theater and be so entertained and not be disappointed, because I know I got the quintessential Godzilla that I've been wanting, and I don't need a -1 for like another decade. I'm good. I'm set, because to be honest, I don't know how the hell you can top -1.
Chris, I'm gonna take you back a little bit because this is something that's been etched in my brain, and then I've thought about it ever since. This was way back early GojiFan days. You were doing a stream. You were doing a stream after you had just watched Shin Godzilla, and you were talking with Asusa.
Oh yeah.
And a comment came up saying, which would you rather have? A Godzilla movie every year where you're just rolling the dice, or a Godzilla film every like 6 or 7 years, but it's like critically acclaimed? And I remember Asusa just leaping and saying like, critically acclaimed, easily. I'll wait however long. Just give me the good Godzilla movie. And that's what I feel like has kind of happened. We've gone down that timeline.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got Shin Godzilla still. I think it has a lot of problems, but it's objectively good. -1 is objectively great.
I still think Shin.
Wait 7 or 8 years. That's worth it. I think I'd wait 12. I'd wait 12 years for another -1. Honestly, something.
I mean, I think Shin Godzilla still has weight. I think Shin Godzilla still has a purpose in the whole franchise. I think it's still a landmark title. But still, even really thought about it. I was like, yeah, it still really wasn't fully what I've wanted, because the one thing Shin Godzilla lacked were two things for me. It was a scary Godzilla. Because the Shin Godzilla was scary just because of the way he looked, but how he wasn't necessarily scary. Like it wasn't like I was like shitting my pants or whatever. And the other thing that it was lacking, even though I appreciate the film for it, was the lack of a cast of characters to really care about. But I understand the purpose of Shin Godzilla and what they were trying to do with it. I understand that you weren't supposed to necessarily fall in love with one character, because it was supposed to be a group of people that were just trying to figure shit out. And it was way more political in that area and all that, which I appreciate. But the reason why -1, it is just so good and timeless. One, it's a period piece, which automatically makes it in this sort of timeless piece where you don't have technology or phones or internet or things that obviously would become outdated. But it literally nails everything that made the original film great. Great cast of characters, great music, great special effects. Godzilla was actually scary, and it had the most meaty story of symbolism, metaphors, allegories. It was literally everything that 54 did, but better, or just enhanced, or like.
Someone said, I wish for the reality where -1 Godzilla looked like Shin, and I kind of agree. I think that design, I mean, I can live with both realities, but that design kind of fits the tone better of this movie than maybe.
Yeah, I actually would disagree. I think this design of Godzilla I like how they went back to more of a traditional guy, because what this does is opens up the door for sequels, for Godzilla to fight. If there are other monsters for him to fight, this Godzilla's ready. The Shin Godzilla guy, I feel like another monster would come up and just knock him over, and he would like, or something, or I don't know. It's whatever. But I don't know. I guess we can now transition into Godzilla himself, and that's the one thing that about this Godzilla is the design. It doesn't do anything new, but I think that's okay. I think that's the thing that Toho has been doing for in the Reiwa era. Every new thing, they've been trying to reinvent Godzilla. They've been trying to do something with him that we weren't expecting. Shin Godzilla did the whole, just his overall look, his origin, how he worked as like his biology. Yeah, like all that. And then, Godzilla Earth and the trilogy, was what that was. And then Singular Point, which just is this. I just have no idea what happened in that series, so I can't. I still don't understand it. It was good, I liked it, but I just don't understand it. But this Godzilla was back. You're bringing it back to the roots of it, and sure. I think do some people think that this design was a lot of inspired from the legendary Goji? Sure. I feel like that Godzilla is so prominent that design a lot of fans love. I'm more akin to him too. I mean, I think, the legendary Goji is not a bad design at all. And I think that taking elements from that and then taking elements from like the Heisei design and sort of mixing it together, I think made for a brilliant, simplistic design. But I tell you, I swear to guys, look at the eyes on this guy. I mean, it is the most defined and alive eyes. Like the part where he's chasing Koichi and the team, and it's like that, Jaws part, and his eyes are locked on them. I mean, it is terrifying. Like that's what I mean by a terrifying Godzilla. It doesn't necessarily mean that he has to look terrifying. It's just the fact that he has his eyes on you, and when he's locked on you, you're dead. There is nothing that is stopping him from coming after you. And that is more terrifying than a sort of zombie looking Godzilla that's just walking forward, So again, nothing against Shin, but there's just something personality wise with -1 Goji that's just, it's just, yeah, man, when an X Plus figure comes out, it's going to be pretty good, I swear. Although that Super 7 figure that's coming out, that figure also looks really great too. Yeah, so goodness. Potential sequels. Let's talk about. Let's actually no wait. Before we talk about the sequel,
Can we talk about the box office real quick?
Okay, here, let's do this. Let's talk about the box office right now. We're then going to talk about the ending, and then we're going to talk about potential sequels. So, all right, let's talk about the box
On my
office.
screen.
Yeah.
It is $100,000 away from grossing more in America than it did in Japan. That is a huge deal.
See, that's America coming to the rescue again, because we did that for the original film too.
Every day it has made at least $1 million. Yesterday it made $2 million.
That is nuts, man. That is, guys, like we live.
It's reported to have been a $15 million budget, but I remember the director came out recently.
Yeah, said no. Yeah, it was less.
I wish it was that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What kind of money laundering is going on in Hollywood where they need that much money?
No, I said it. I did I was in just a Google or not. I almost said Google Hangouts. Wow, that brought me back. On Discord, just in the Hangout room, and we were talking about just how I really fully think that a lot of Hollywood executives are not using the full budgets. These $200 million budget bullshit. I don't think that's what's going on here, because also they're treating their animators like shit. They're forcing them to crunch and all that crap. That's why the films look horrible now, because they're a factory line trying to get all this shit done. And I think also that these executives, they're pocketing a lot of this money. I swear to God, there's so much corruption in Hollywood that they are not giving the full budget. They're saying, "Oh, this movie's $200 million." No, it's not. I guarantee it's not. They're not putting all that money in.
So many reports of animators and VFX artists, especially nowadays, going through absolute hell, getting not zero pay, but not enough.
But not enough for what they do.
You never hear stories about executives anywhere saying like, "Man, I really didn't make enough money this fourth quarter," or something like that.
I'm sorry. In the comments, Zane going, it's mostly marketing and Chris Pratt.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Or The Rock. He's in every, he's just getting everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I just cannot believe we're living in a time where Godzilla has beat, I mean, like Oppenheimer and Barbie, the Super Mario movie. I mean, like there was a steep competition for this year. And especially coming in at the tail end of the year, where most of the time films that come out around the last part of November into December, they're not even really thought of, because they're the last bit of 20, like people have already made their movie of the year, but the fact that Godzilla's come in and was just like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna just destroy Disney and we're gonna destroy like everything else. It's like, it is so, and some people, I watched actually a video from, who was it? They were talking about, I think it was OmniViewer. He was talking about how hopefully Hollywood will change, or will Hollywood change because of -1? I don't think so. I think Hollywood is still so stuck in its way and so stubborn that I don't think they're not going to look at a foreign, because obviously it's embarrassing to them, but they're going to look at
ignoring this movie as much as they can.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't doubt that the Oscars, like even though Godzilla Minus One is being up nominated for a lot of this stuff, it's still not going to win the whole thing because there's a bunch of these backers, executives that are going, do not make that film of the year because that's going to set a standard and we don't want to do that, so.
Especially from the window that they might think it doesn't criticize America, but it doesn't really put them on the pedestal that maybe some way other Godzilla movies do.
Well, it's like we're Hollywood. We're like we can't let a foreign film outdo us. Like come on.
No. It has to be Parasite. I mean, Godzilla Minus One is a great movie. It's not Parasite levels good though. I wouldn't say that. It's a great movie. It took a lot for that. The movie I'm talking about, Parasite.
Yeah, it's like based on an anime, right? It's a live action thing.
Oh no. This is a different Parasite. This is a South Korean film. Other people probably know what I'm talking about. It won an Oscar for, I think, just Best Picture in general.
Oh.
And it did really well in America, but that was an exception. It's Minus One is not that levels good, but it is still really good, and it sucks that it requires something to be Parasite levels good,
right?
To even enter that threshold of viability for the Oscars or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've seen Barbie, I've seen Oppenheimer, I've seen all the rest of the slop Hollywood's put out this year.
Yeah.
This is the best one, and it's not going to get any recognition.
Right, right. Well, I'm happy because here's the thing. It's like the Game Awards. It really, when it comes down to it, like I don't give a shit about the Game Awards. I don't give a shit about the Oscars. Like this film is still getting the respect that it deserves from the audience members. And also, like, I mean, again, I know that here's the thing too, people don't like the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing, using it as a platform to gauge with thing, but at the same time you can't deny that the fact that the critic score and the audience score is both at a high, I mean, like, you gotta admit that is kind of cool. Like, again, I know we don't fully use Rotten Tomatoes as 100% valid, but at the same time there's a little bit of gauging there, going, hey, you know what, that's pretty good, because you look at like the Marvel shit, and of course it's always bad, like it's always garbage right now. So I mean,
I'm not gonna take up the opportunity to shit on Marvel here, but Minus One outperformed the Marvels movie in Japan.
Well, of course, I think anything would outperform the Marvel stuff right now, but
I just had to get one.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the ending. So the ending with this, I got to give credit actually to an old friend of mine, who I'm actually doing a live stream on Friday with, an old friend of mine, Rob from ETN. Haven't talked to him in years, but I actually reached out to him just to say how are things doing, and he actually, we started talking again, and I'm actually going to be on the show on Friday talking about all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But I got to give him credit for this one thing, because it totally went over my head. So at the end, so at the Ginza attack, when Godzilla shoots his breath, right, and it makes the giant atomic bomb go off, which, by the way, is holy shit, like fuck. And Noriko gets
Mm-hmm.
blown away, and we're wondering, okay, how does she survive that? But besides the technical questions, when Koichi walks out and he's looking at the destruction, and he turns around and he does that blood-curdling scream at Godzilla, which, by the way, is, again, just my hair raised, just how spine-chilling that was. When he does that, there's this black rain that just falls on him. Now, I don't know about any of you guys, but it went over my head. But what Rob was saying is that's a symbol of saying that's nuclear fallout, and basically now everyone in that vicinity is infected. Did anyone else kind of get that? Picked up on that?
I knew that went over my head. I didn't know what that was. I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know what nuclear.
So when
You're
Rob's
saying what I think you're saying about the ending.
well, yeah. So I'm getting to that. So when Rob said that, first off, that made me instantly go, oh my God, like that changes everything of this film, So we get to the ending where Koichi gets the telegram that Noriko's alive, and he runs with Akiko. By the way, Akiko, guys, best child character in a Godzilla movie, hands down. It's the most adorable kid.
What? Best character. Clear.
Right. when he goes and she's there and he opens the door, and again the acting in this part almost made me tear up. Like I couldn't. I was like so close. When she said, is your war over? And he's like, yeah. And he goes and just whatever. She then, she turns, and then obviously there's this black mark that's going up her neck. And I actually remember my wife, when we were watching, we both looked at each other. We're like, what the hell is, like, what was that? Because it was like 3 seconds, and then it went away. It was super quick. So what I was thinking is I was thinking like my brain went to a just super quick, like, is this a Shin Godzilla thing where like it's a mutation or whatever? Like, is she gonna all of a sudden turn into a Godzilla? I don't. That was an outrageous thing. But when Rob was talking about it, that was basically either a symbol of her getting infected and now it's reaching the rest of her body, and soon that might happen to all the characters that were affected. And he said basically, because when he came out of the film, there was another couple that was walking out alongside them, and he overheard the couple, and the guy said, oh, I'm so happy that it had a happy ending, like all that. And Rob actually turned to him and said, not really, that was actually the saddest ending ever. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, because they're all dead. Every one of those characters are dead. In a few months or a year, they're all dead. And I'm like, huh, what? And so, what do you guys think? Like, how does that change
It doesn't change anything for me.
Okay. Can you elaborate more on that?
I wasn't, for some reason, I didn't really associate the rain itself with maybe causing some of the infection or whatever. I associated the blast with it. But so it does change something, I guess. Maybe now that I know Koichi might be dying, but he obviously isn't dying the same way she is right now.
Right.
That's where I was in my mind. However, I did see it the first time. I'd noticed the mark going up, and I could tell that it was a sign of something. And my mind was like, they're either teeing up a sequel, or if they don't get a sequel, this will just mean the long-lasting radiation effects. Which I think is fine. I was already prepared for this character to die. The fact that she's alive was like, the satisfaction that she was alive was only to add to the rewarding Koichi for doing something in vain of the message of this film, which is to live.
Mm-hmm.
He was rewarded. That was my...
I'm very happy that she survived.
She survived so he could tell her what he didn't get to before Godzilla attacked.
Yeah.
She's probably still gonna die, and I've been prepared for that the whole film. But now he gets to have that talk that he's always wanted to have. If she dies in a month or two, maybe a couple years, I'm fine with that. What I don't want is her to turn into some Godzilla freak.
Like a Shin Godzilla style, like...
That would ruin... I would not be able to be like most people where I'm like, if they make a sequel and this is the route they go, well, I can separate it from the first one. No, they put it in the movie.
Same continuity and everything.
If they're saying that this was the reason, I'm meant to believe that in this movie. So I can't deal with that. The fact that she's maybe dying or something, I think it doesn't add to anything. It maybe adds a little bit of more of a realism to how she survived. She survived, but she's not off the hook kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. I think her surviving just so he can have that talk is what I care about. That if she dies a couple months later, I'm not gonna cry over that.
Okay, Nico.
And the fact that you brought up the black rain and talking about the nuclear fallout and how everyone is infected with radiation, whoever was present at Ginza, that does kind of
it changes
things into it changes a thing a little bit for me.
It's like, ooh, just more stakes.
First of all, first of all, the only person I see really dying at this point in time, for all we know, is Koichi. Because we don't know if the doctor was part of this nuclear fallout. We don't know who was all part of it, whatever the case may be. But I guess it's sad to know that, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at remembering the characters' names.
Noriko?
Yeah, Noriko.
Noriko.
Yeah, Noriko and Koichi. Yeah, all
Yeah.
right. So I guess it's sad knowing that, that she is eventually will perish because of what had happened, and I guess at this point now, Koichi will eventually perish because of what had just happened. Um, and I guess in a way he won his war, and he could, in a way, he was a kamikaze.
Right.
He sacrificed himself to get rid of Godzilla. Supposedly, apparently, what in their mind, get rid of Godzilla, and
That's what I'm saying. The character
it's
arcs were
bittersweet.
completed.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet.
I don't
yeah.
care what the deeper end to this story is. Like, I've been prepared this whole movie for everybody to die.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
true.
the fact that we got any kind of happy resolution at all was what I can live with and be satisfied with. I didn't really think of the black ash as a poison. I always thought the black rain as a poison. I always thought it was like maybe rain mixed with ash.
Yeah.
I always considered the blast to kind of be the poison radius of things.
I mean, and I agree with you, Sean. I think normally for me in storytelling, when a character sacrifices himself like that, I would prefer them to stay dead because it validates that sacrifice throughout the whole thing. If they come back, to me, it sort of nullifies that. But I think because they just did such a damn good job making you care about these characters, when she got the telegram, and in my head, I was thinking, oh, like, is Noriko alive? And then he goes into the hospital and sees her. I actually was so much more happy that happened instead of her staying dead, because to me it was like, it was just nice after all the shit that Koichi had to go through that he did get some happy ending, and you're right, regardless of whatever either the black rain meant or the mark on Noriko's neck, whatever that means, at least for this film, when the credits roll, it is a very nice, happy ending, like in that way. Until later, but that's like, but to be honest, that's like life. It's like you take the happy moments and then you brace for the future if something bad happens. But it's like, for right now, we can be happy. Like, for right now, we can celebrate life and we can be happy about it. So, yeah, but it's just like when I
change how I feel about the movie, it doesn't ruin it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it ruins it. I'm just saying that when you like the repercussions of thinking like, oh my God, maybe they're all infected, that it changes it in a way of like in universe. It's like, oh God, like they might die later or something like that. It's not just happy ending. They're all good, but, but this is what can bring us to a sequel potential. And I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of like a sequel. So Sean, again, let's start with you. What do you think about a sequel? Like, what would you do, or would you do a sequel?
Let me just start by saying I think Takashi Yamazaki is just a great filmmaker in general. I've seen some of I've seen only one other movie, and it's the Always Sunset thing. But I've seen how his other films have been received, and he's just genuinely a good filmmaker. So to see what he's done with his take on Godzilla, I think I wouldn't mind seeing any number of films by him again. I don't even mind a sequel. But do I want one? No. I think this is a perfect standalone film. I think even with the things at the end with Underneck and Godzilla coming back, there was a bit of an open-ended GMK, and I still think that's a great standalone film too. So
same with Shin.
Yeah. That's kind of a running thing in Godzilla, so I don't think it needs a sequel. If it gets one, I'd rather it not be a sequel from Takashi Yamazaki. I would love to see another film from him, That's how I feel. I think he could do a sequel well. I just think it wouldn't be needed.
Okay. What about you, Nico?
I'm gonna agree with Sean on this one. I don't think a sequel is needed. I think it's perfectly fine just being a standalone film. I think if they were to do a sequel, the only route I could see them taking is literally redo is not the proper word. I would say recapture Godzilla Gojira, the 54 movie. I think that's the only route they could go and throw some maybe new elements, and get some deeper character involvement with that, and I can see that happening perfectly. And maybe throw in Serizawa and the complications, give that a deeper complication.
Right.
You know, make the love story between Ogato, Serizawa, and the female character.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. People in the comments, the love interest in Gojira.
Right?
No, the 54. The girl, whatever her name.
Yeah.
The main character. Yeah. The love interest of Ogata.
Guys, please,
They'll tell
please
us.
help me out.
They'll tell us. Trust me, they will. They got it.
But the female interest, I would rather have the story focus around those three.
Oh,
Emiko.
Emiko, yeah,
Okay,
Godzilla
yes.
Kiryu, thank you.
I would love for that movie to be based around those three and their complications, and then you know, with Godzilla being involved, you know, somehow, some way, it's gonna be kind of weird to tie all that in, especially with and then you have the oxygen destroyer. And I feel like that would be the only way you can have a sequel for this film. And I've seen people bring up like, oh, what if they made like a Rodan -1 or bring another kaiju? No, none of those will ever work, because none of those characters are nearly as significant or as popular as Godzilla. No, they would not be nearly as successful as a Godzilla -1. I can tell you right now, no one in America would ever go see a Rodan -1. No one would ever go see any sort of other kaiju -1. Godzilla is all that matters in this franchance.
I want to change my
Mothra doesn't have
answer.
that pull.
I want to change my answer a bit.
No, you can't. You already submitted it. Too late.
No. If Takashi, just because I have faith in this filmmaker, if Takashi Yamazaki if he meant to make a second or third movie, like that was his vision, totally fine. I don't care about any sequels in that case. So many times sequels are made and forced upon a director who make a great movie because their first one exploded, and they usually causes a dip in quality.
Mm-hmm.
If he envisions a sequel and it's truly his vision, I think he should it's okay to make it. I don't have to like it. I just think if there's a second part to this story and it's meant to be just as good as this one, I want to see it.
Yeah.
But I really don't think there is. I think it stops here. But if there is, yeah, I'll watch it.
So if there's not a sequel, I'm okay with it, but I'm actually going to disagree with both of you. I think it's time for Toho to make another series. It's been far too long of Toho trying and restarting and trying and restarting. And I think we know how Toho works. They like money. And this film has made a lot of money. And the director has stated he wants to make a sequel. I feel like he's gone on record saying that he would love to make a sequel. Yes. So I think because of Toho seeing the success from -1 and knowing that the director has the passion for the character and also wanting to make a sequel, I actually do think a sequel will happen just because it has been so successful. Now, in order
overseas, no less,
especially overseas, right? So like in Japan and overseas, we don't even know the international numbers yet, like in Europe and all that stuff. That's still happening right now.
Yeah, that just started.
Right. So that's also going to 100% continue to just keep on putting money in Toho's pocket. So the thing that they have to do, obviously, if they were to do a sequel, they need to have the exact same team to do this who worked on it. We cannot have a change of director, a change of a screenwriter, a change of a special effects art, whatever. We need the exact same crew who worked on this to stay in it if they are going to continue it. Now, I'm happy that the director was also the writer, and also he had a big hand in the special effects because that's also his background too. So that's good that he can do a lot of that on his own too. But also the fact that this movie, actually, that was just what I was about to say. Crossbreed Azur says this movie has better potential for a sequel than Shin. I was about to say that. True, this film has characters that you care about and you want to see what happens to them next, and it's ripe for a sequel. Now, what I think would be good is, I think, Nico, I think you were onto something. If the next film were to sort of recreate the sort of plot of 54, reintroduce Dr. Serizawa, have the oxygen destroyer be a thing, because Godzilla's regenerating in the ocean right now. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. He's going to be even more pissed off than ever before, right? Now, you have Koichi, Noriko, and Akiko. I don't see any reason why the sequel cannot have these characters come back. You need to have this same cast come back. Now, Akiko can, obviously, she'll grow up and she'll be, she'll hear the story about what her, stepdad did for the country. And then Koichi will be this like war hero or whatever. He'll be forgiven of the idea that he, stepped away from being a kamikaze pilot or whatever. And but Noriko, because maybe that mark on her, maybe she does end up passing, and maybe that's what fuels Akiko to maybe do something. I don't know. Like maybe it depends on if Godzilla comes back, and then that's when Noriko dies or whatever. I think Noriko can become the new main protagonist, and she can then work alongside Dr. Serizawa, Ogata, and Emiko. She can have some kind of relationship with them, and Koichi can maybe get her, Akiko, to maybe want to be a pilot. And so then she sort of takes on the mantle of being this pilot, and then she goes off to help the scientists and all those people try to take on Godzilla. Then the other thing that I think would be really interesting is if you sort of combine, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but you kind of combine some elements of Raids again because of the pilots. I mean, if like Koichi,
you mean Gigantus the Fire Monster?
I'm sorry, Gigantus the Fire Monster. You remember the pilots in Gigantus the Fire Monster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember him very well. Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking that that's because Koichi had such a big deal with that. You sort of keep that plot thread with the main characters being pilots and defending the country with that. And I think also, I want to see more of a worldwide interest in this. So bring a little bit more of that America, like into where like the soldier, like where we get a little bit more of realistic, like there are U.S. troops in Japan, because during like after World War II, it was kind of odd. This is one criticism I could say of -1. It was odd that there was like literally no American soldiers in Japan. Like they were literally occupied by us at that point.
Yeah, it was weird that they made zero appearance. They did give a good reason to why they weren't involved in the story.
Yes, they did get a good reason. Yeah. But if we make a sequel and they see what this has done, the whole U.S. Soviet tension thing needs to be like, oh, no, we're fine, we're good, we're gonna figure out what's going on here, and I think that would make it even better. And then you need maybe a reporter, so you bring Steve Martin in as an American, right? And so like there are,
and then his son Steve Martin Jr.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so now the other thing that I want to say, the reason why I was bringing in elements from Raids, I mean Gigantus the Fire Monster, is because I do think think about it. It's been a while since we've had a live action Godzilla film where he's fought another monster from Toho. I think if you were to bring another monster for Godzilla to fight, to raise the stakes for all of that stuff, I think the only character that you can pick is Anguirus. And I say that because he is also just as a realistic dinosaur creature like Godzilla is. And he could easily have been nuked just like Godzilla was, but let's say he was still, I don't know, sleeping, or he was on some different island or something, and he's
been on ice this whole time and suddenly he wakes up.
Right, like something you can do in that way. And I think that the oxygen destroyer would play a big role in finally finishing off Godzilla in it. Having it be that actual thing where he goes to the bottom of the ocean, he turns into bones, and then he disappears completely.
That's true. The oxygen destroyer does kind of exist more for a reason in a -1 sequel than it does in the original Gojira, because in Godzilla, the only reason they choose the oxygen destroyers just because other weapons don't work. He doesn't
Exactly.
regenerate in that movie.
Right.
In this movie, he's a chemical anomaly.
Yeah, you can't
So-
kill, like, no matter what, you literally have to destroy every bit of him. But I mean, Godzilla in this film, -1, he got fucked up. I mean, he was like dropped down
More
to the
than even
ocean.
Godzilla, I
Right.
think.
I mean, like, he was dropped down to the ocean doing his atomic, he was about to charge his breath, and then you see that one part where he kind of goes, he kind of, and then they bring him up, and then when they bring him up, he's starting to bubble, and like his eyes are bulging out of his socket. Like, it's quite, he's in pain at that point. He's like super pissed at that point. And then he goes in, blows his head up, which, by the way, is, I just can't believe I've seen a Godzilla film where I actually saw Godzilla's head get blown up. I mean, that's quite insane. And then he disintegrates into this weird GMK style lights flying out of his body or whatever. But he starts to regenerate underwater. The only way to kill off Godzilla is the oxygen destroyer. It is like there's, this character cannot be killed elsewhere.
You need a chemical weapon to kill a chemical kaiju.
Right. Exactly. So if there were to be a sequel, I think those are a few of those elements. Takashi, if you're listening, those are some of those elements that you should probably utilize, is bring back the cast, maybe sort of do a semi 1954 mixed with Gigantus the Fire Monster plot together, and have the oxygen destroy, have Anguirus be in there to fight Godzilla so that you can get a little bit of that monster fight action, and then have Godzilla kill off Anguirus like he did in the other one. I mean, Gigantus did in the other one. And then have the final act, the final operation be the oxygen destroyer to finally finish him off and end it there. Maybe you don't even need a trilogy. Just have a sequel and end it there and be good. And like that's where you can go. Because yes, there is a point where you can still have that be all grounded, but I don't think the films can keep on going in the direction of, especially like the MonsterVerse has gone. And I don't think you can introduce a space monster. Like, you can't have King Ghidorah come in here. You can't have Gigan be in here. You can't have things like that, because that's going to ruin the realistic tone that they were going for.
And that's what I'm worried about, is that Toho, they have control. They can be like, you need to use these monsters in this movie.
I mean, they could,
They
yeah.
could just pull up and say, hey, you know Hedorah.
But at the
you need to use
same,
in this film. Like,
time, because Takashi has done such a job for them, I feel like Toho, because they're looking at where
they already gave him free reign. It paid off.
They're looking
going to give it to him again.
Exactly. They're looking at where the money is, and they're saying, this guy knows what he's doing, so we should probably listen to him. Like, we should probably give him the creative liberty to continue what he was doing, because obviously he just made us a book amount of money in the last one. So, okay. I am running out of time here, guys, so we're going to end the stream. But I just want to do any like final thoughts from us here. But Sean, any final things with -1 in terms of this discussion?
It's obviously a great movie. It is incredibly inspiring as an artist to know that this film was made on like probably $12 million, just guesstimating here. And I'm still blown away by that fact. Not a day goes by where I'm not. And I hope to see more Godzilla films from Takashi Yamazaki in whatever form it may take.
Okay. Nico?
I saw the trailer, and I knew it was going to be something special. How special? It far exceeded my expectations. I think it far exceeded anyone could have ever expected. I'm so thankful that we got this film. And like Chris said earlier, it's given me a new appreciation for the Godzilla franchise, a whole different appreciation. Because for a while, it was getting bland, because we've been getting, it's the same cycle where Toho releases an something experimental with Godzilla, and the MonsterVerse drops something that's mixed. That gets mixed feelings.
Crazier and crazier.
And yeah. But this really, it's bringing in a lot of, I think it's everyone's finding an appreciation for Godzilla, not just as Godzilla fans, but people who aren't even fans of Godzilla, who could care less about what like what Sean said earlier, people who could care less about Godzilla in general, who would go see this film, would like understand like this is crazy. So if you haven't seen the film, please go see it.
Just support
You
this
will
film,
not
my
be
guy. Like,
disappointed.
yeah, seriously, don't try and
I would
find
not-
some ripped version camcorder footage off the internet. Go and support this film. Buy a damn ticket. Show Toho we want this.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they extended it again in theaters because it's doing so well. I thought going back Saturday, I thought I was going back in an empty theater. I was not going back into an empty theater. There were still
Every time I've
There's
gone,
still people.
There's more people.
Yeah.
Every time I've gone,
there are more people showing up.
Yeah.
So I am very pleased, and I'm awaiting some sort of announcement from whether it's from the Godzilla US page or Toho or whatever on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I'm expecting them to say, "Hey, we're extending it again." So I'll be like, "Yes, I get to take more people to go see it. I can see it more."
Yeah.
So, and listen, Toho, I'm waiting. Call me when you release the soundtrack on vinyl.
Yeah. Also, guys, like when it comes to supporting the film, I do know though that there are a lot of you that unfortunately are not able to see it in theaters. I understand that there are a lot of people that are very upset. I think there's also a place, I can't remember the exact region, but there's some place, Lithuania, that's having like a major issue. Like the movie got pulled from the theaters, like when people bought the tickets and they were gonna go see it and they got pulled or something like that. Some major issues are going on right now. So again, I understand that there are some people that can't see it, but if you have the ability to, please go support it. If not, wait until, and I know it's hard to wait, but wait until some digital release comes out or the Blu-ray or something and go snag that up or whatever. You know, I know it's so easy once this film continues to come out, and the internet will have its ways to get it for free, but I just urge, look, even if you do
Honestly,
see it for free,
this film is worth the flight. I'm sorry.
yeah, go fly. Yeah, fly to territories that you can watch it. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, even if you do watch it, like let's say on some cam footage, whatnot, even if you've gotten to see the film, still buy something when something comes out in your region where you're able to do that. Like, still go buy it again. Like, do something in order.
Digital is releasing on Friday. There's no way.
That's not a thing. No.
I do believe digital is releasing a lot faster.
Well, it is, yes,
Yeah,
but
like, I
don't.
saw Super Mario Bros. Drop like a month after it
Yeah.
was released in theater, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like,
So, but yeah, I mean, for me, guys, again, I mean, it was really what Sean and Nico said. I mean, it was just this film. I mean, I was blown away with how this film just, because this is another thing too for me. For the last year or so, or like a year and a half or whatnot, I have been very just disappointed with everything in terms of media lately. I have been so disenfranchised with many things that I've fallen in love with in terms of as like childhood or whatever. I mean, it's literally like that Red Letter Media quote where he was saying like, "Isn't it great growing up and seeing all your favorite franchises just burn to the ground?" It's true. I mean, I've seen my love for Halo has died because Halo Infinite came out. My love, like all these games that come out broken, these movies that are just shit. Marvel has died for me. Star Wars has died for me. I can't enjoy things anymore because I get disappointed every time. So now I go into anything that I like, and I just go into with already a negative attitude. I'm just like, this is gonna be horrible. And but this, it was so good to finally get something that was. And I'm so happy that it's Godzilla, like I'm so happy that the thing that really made me just go, this was amazing, was Godzilla. Like, of course, right? Godzilla comes in to save the day. And it reignited my fandom for this series, and I can appreciate it for all of its different tones and everything. And the fact that it just exploded my expectations beyond belief of how this is. So my other last thing that I want to say to you guys before we end the stream is, I do recommend watching, I don't really plug my own stuff. I don't like to do that necessarily on this channel, but I would recommend watching my PSA video for the fans. And I know that it's kind of a stupid thing. It's not necessarily me saying a bunch of people, let's just sing Kumbaya and I'll be having the same opinion on shit. The purpose of it is saying that because of the new Empire coming out, you're now going to have all of these elitist, or you're going to have all these pompous people come out, and they're going to say, "Oh, because of -1, you're an idiot for liking the new." I don't want to see. I mean, we're going to see it. I can't really control people, but I just don't. I don't want people to be afraid to say on the internet, I like the new Empire. Like, I don't want that to be a problem. I want this fan base, again, to be something where we all can just come together, like have a conversation like we have here, where we can obviously disagree on things. I mean, there are things that Sean and Nico disagree with me on stuff and whatever, but it's not like we're like, well, you're an idiot, or we're calling each other.
We're not going to take it on a personal level.
Right. Like I said, yeah, exactly. Like
that does not need to be that way.
Right.
You're
I mean,
allowed to criticize a movie however you want. I've never pointed in the direction of any one person or any people for liking it themselves.
Yeah, and another thing too is, like, even for the people who say that they don't like -1, I don't want people to be afraid to say, it just didn't.
Those people gotta go.
Yeah, I don't want. I got a comment actually on, I think it was my review, where someone said, it just didn't really jive with them, and I really wanted to respond to that comment, and I said, hey man, that's cool. There's no problem with that. If it didn't jive with you, it didn't jive with you, and that's totally fine. Because guess what? There are so many other different Godzillas for you out there that something is going to hit. Something's going to... Exactly. Godzilla's for everybody. I can't that is such a true statement, and that's what makes this franchise so amazing and versatile. I can't think of any other franchise in the world that is this versatile, where it literally can be for anybody. Like, I swear. Like, I challenge you to find another property that literally can work for anybody, that can be that versatile. So that's what I want to say. Let's, again, with the new Empire coming out, obviously people are going to compare, and yes, it's up to criticism, but at the same time, they have
the criticism. I don't think it's worth comparing. As someone who's going to go into the new Empire criticizing the hell out of it, it is not worth comparing to -1.
At the very least, I'm going to be comparing it to the other MonsterVerse films. That's where my criticisms are going to lie. It's like, how does this film stack up with the rest of the series? In terms of the MonsterVerse stuff. I'm still going to hold 2014 and Skull Island to a high level, and every other MonsterVerse film is going to be compared to that. And in my opinion, yes, I'm still not super jazzed with the way that the series has gone. Although the Monarch series, hell yeah, coming in for a Hail Mary right there. Fuck, that show is actually really good. I'm not going to lie. And we're not getting into the political bullshit about that last episode. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to talk about that.
I haven't seen it.
I don't, yeah, you'll know. You'll see. But yeah, so... but thank you guys. We got a lot of comments. Thank you for the interaction. I know that we didn't get to a lot of your comments. I know that some of the comments went by, but that was sort of the point. I wanted us to discuss and you guys to discuss in the comments and all that. But, yeah. Also, guys, I will be taking a little bit of a break for the rest of the month. I'm on teetering on the edge of burnout in terms of content. Cause as you can tell, the channel has had literally a daily upload since like the beginning of October. I'm very tired. So I'm going to be taking the rest of the month off, but I'll be back in January. But I will be on ETN's channel on Friday. So look forward to that. I'll post a thing about that. You guys can watch that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, -1. Hell yeah. Godzilla is back and better than ever. And I'm just excited to see what the rest of the franchise has in store for everybody. So, all right, that'll do it for us. Thank you, Nico and Sean, for being a part of this stream. Because originally I was just going to solo it, but I think having you guys on made it a lot more enjoyable. And we had different, thoughts going into it. So, but that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, stay